Good Wednesday morning. Are you kidding me? What? What just happened in the middle of the night? If you're waking up and you're getting in your car, you didn't check your phone, and your friends weren't up and your family wasn't up, and you're thinking, what in the hell is happening? Why is Gio screaming on Wednesday? There's nothing that won. I mean, the Knicks won, and they continue to win, and that's great. Well, guess what? Steve Cohen signed Carlos Correa in the middle of the night right away from the San Francisco Giants. And now we are seeing the true power of this man, the richest man in the sport. And he said it, and I believe it, and we said it prior to this happening. This is the thing that puts them over the top. With everything that they did in this offseason, you still looked at the Phillies, you still looked at the Braves and said, man, those teams are really, really good. Carlos Correa in the fold now? Woo! Good morning, Boomer. How are you?
Oh, Steve Cohen, happy Hanukkah. Merry Christmas to everybody out there. Here's your Christmas present. Here's everything on top of everything he's already done. You know, they introduced Verlander yesterday, Senga the day before that. They re-signed Adam Ottavino. They're bringing in Robertson. They signed Edwin Diaz to the richest contract in reliever history. You have Max Scherzer on this squad. You have Quintana on this squad. You have now added a third baseman who's willing to go to third base. Now, the question really is, and we don't know the answer to this yet, but I kind of have a sneaking suspicion that Carlos Correa was having second thoughts about signing with the Giants. Not that the Giants aren't a good franchise or it's whatever. I think that somewhere along the line here, Lindor is talking to him this whole time.
Well, he definitely was. We know that because that came out last week.
And I just think that whatever Boris had to do to muddy the waters between Correa and Giants, he did it because I kind of feel like Correa wanted to be here. He wanted to be here with Verlander. He wanted to be here with Lindor. He wanted to be here with Max Scherzer. He wanted to be here with Buck Showalter. He wanted to be in the big city. And he wanted to play for the richest owner in all of baseball. So all I can tell you is that when I woke up this morning, I had a couple texts, one from a guy that we call page 6. He's really page 5.5.
Yeah.
Because he only gets like a third of the story right, and then something else later comes along, and we have to yell at him because he's
dangerous.
He's
with
dangerous.
This information.
He's very, very dangerous because he never reads the body of any article. He just reads the headlines and then goes running with it and can't wait to text us. A little bit I have to say, congratulations to one John Heyman.
Yes, redemption time for John Heyman.
It is redemption time because he was the one that was all over this.
Yeah.
And the only one, and he put it out in the middle of the night. And as you know, when we walked in here this morning, the guys that were here,
oh my God,
you can't believe
floating.
this place. This place is floating. So I have to say, like I said, happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, whatever you say, whatever it is, we got our present. We got our present.
Yep.
And I thought yesterday's press conference with Verlander was good.
Sure.
And now we come to work this morning, and this is breaking through the middle of the night. It's ridiculous. So the numbers really come down to this: 12 years, $315 million. So it's probably the same amount of net money that he would have made from the Giants.
Okay.
With the difference in taxes and all that other stuff. I would think it's very, very close. Number two, the Mets have a payroll now exceeding or close to $380 million. On top of that, there's going to be a $100 million luxury tax that the Mets are going to pay into the system.
So we're talking about $500 million.
Yeah. So, well, we're close to it. Yes.
Yeah.
We're very, very close. We're teetering on $500 million right now for 1 year of baseball players.
Yep.
We're not even talking about long-term commitments here.
Sure, but a lot of these numbers, as we have talked about with Verlander and, of course, with Scherzer the year before, I mean, those are shorter-term deals.
Yeah, I mean, your long-term guys are going to be Carlos Correa, Francisco Lindor, Brandon Nimmo, Edwin Diaz, Kodai Senga, Starling Marte. I mean, those guys are here long term.
No, Marte's only, you got to remember, he's got 3 more years left. So it's not like it's 10 or it's 12 like Lindor.
Right.
There's 3 more years left.
The next question will be, what do they try to do with Pete Alonso, and what do they do with Jeff McNeil? The other thing that this does, when I think about this freaking lineup, and I think about, they're never all going to be hitting at the same time, and we always have these grandiose ideas that 1 through 9, man, they're going to have 15 hits a game, and there's going to be 10 home runs out of those 15 hits.
Right.
You still got to play the game, and baseball is still a daily sport, and guys go in and out of slumps. But what this does, as they say in the old baseball parlance, Gio, and you know this, and I know this.
Yeah.
It expands the lineup.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
And there's a lot of protection in this lineup for each other.
Yeah, and Carlos Correa is a guy that I have always loved. I've always admired him. I didn't have as big of a problem with the 2017 Astros as a lot of people had. This guy is the perfect type of edgy player that the Mets need. Now, the Mets needed or brought in a couple of edgy type players in Steve Cohen's first year that were terrible for the team, meaning Javier Baez and Marcus Stroman. Those guys stunk. Terrible for the clubhouse. Carlos Correa is the exact opposite of that. And he's a guy who is a champion, who's a guy who wants to get back there again. He is someone that I think is going to be perfect and handle New York perfectly. I was screaming about the Yankees trying to get him to, turn around their whole situation. And then Steve Cohen just took him and put him at third base.
You take a look at the projected lineup. Can you imagine Jeff McNeil batting 7th?
Well, probably, yeah. Maybe 6th. I don't know.
It's unbelievable. And then it takes a lot of pressure off of guys like Vogelback and Mark Canna and guys like that, because you have like 6 all-stars. I don't know what to tell you. It's just an embarrassment of riches. Now, I will say, when I first read this morning, I was thinking, oh my God, I can't believe it. So now our team is spending money. Like I don't want to insult anybody, but they are like drunken sailors. Like Stevie Cohen's having a ball with this thing.
You think you're offending sailors?
I hope not.
Okay.
I hope not. Well, I'll say drunken football players, because I was one of them.
There you go. You still are.
Right, exactly. So if I could, I'd do a shot of Añejo with you right now.
Sure.
But it's it feels weird. I want to say, like, when the Yankees used to do stuff like this, it just felt dirty. It just didn't feel right.
See, I was never one of the I was never one of the people that said, "Oh, you bought a championship, you bought a championship." I was just jealous of their winning, and I wanted the Mets to do the same thing. I used to scream,
"We're doing it.
We're also in New York. How come you can't do that?" That's what I was saying, pointing to the Yankees as an example of what I wanted the Mets to be. It was never like slapping a Yankee fan around saying you bought a championship, it doesn't count. I never did that. So the whole dirty feels dirty thing, I don't give a crap. And Steve Cohen was as upset about what happened to the Mets at the end of last year as we were. And that's what you love about the guy. So I was so pissed off when they got swept by the Braves and they got their ass kicked by the Padres. I was killing them.
Well, they were
just absolutely destroying that team. I was so angry, and I said it's going to take a lot for me to believe in them again. And as the season goes on, I'll be like, well, the Braves will just come up and catch them if they're in first place again. And then things were happening in the offseason that I liked, but I felt like how much better did they get? Now, with this guy in the fold, Carlos Correa, my Lord.
Even without this guy, they were getting better, and they spent the money properly.
Sure. Their bullpen got better, I thought.
Right, that they didn't have to spend on Jacob deGrom. Now, you remember the Monday we came in here, and Jacob deGrom had signed with the Rangers either that Friday or Saturday or whatever, and I told you that Steve Cohen was pissed off because Jacob deGrom wouldn't return his phone call. Mm-hmm. And I told you I felt like the reason that Jacob deGrom didn't return his phone call or didn't bring that deal back to the Mets was because his agent had set up a deal with the Rangers, and the Rangers probably said, look, we're going to give you this deal, but you're not allowed to bring this deal back to the Mets. You're either dealing with us in good faith or you're not dealing with us at all. And they ended up signing that deal with the Rangers, never brought it back to the Mets, and how angry Steve Cohen was or pissed off at Jacob deGrom that he never returned his phone call. Like, how do you not return my phone call? What the hell's wrong with you? You don't want to be here? So it led me to believe that he did not want to be here in the first place. But I told you when I came in that Monday, I said, look, he's going to spend up to $340 million on his payroll. We are sitting here now, and it is a Wednesday, and he is spending $380 million. And they're not done yet. They still have guys that they have to pay. Now, a lot of this is also estimated in arbitration numbers and things of that nature. We don't know what those final numbers are going to be. But this thing could inch closer to $400 million when it's all said and done, and about $120 million in luxury tax, which would be amazing.
And who cares? Steve Cohen doesn't care. Mets fans don't care. Nobody should care. I mean, if people want to complain about it and whatever, this isn't fair, and Steve Cohen spending the money, he's getting taxed at $100 million. So whatever. To me, it's a fantasy world at this point, and this is exactly what every fan wants from their team, that you're not satisfied with losing. And even though you won 101 games and you made the playoffs and you had all these fun moments during the season, it wasn't good enough. The Padres came in here, smacked you around. The Braves came up and won the division, and that sucked, and that was unacceptable. And Steve Cohen says, I'm going to do whatever the hell I can to make sure that doesn't happen again, which is exactly what I've been screaming that the Yankees should be doing, but they don't do that stuff anymore because Hal Steinbrenner's worried about the luxury tax. They're fine with getting their ass kicked by the Astros every year in the postseason. Steve Cohen is not. It happened to Steve Cohen one time in the playoffs, and he said, F everybody. Bang. Look at my team now. Pulled down his pants and showed everybody what he's working with. And it happens it happens to the Yankees every single year. And they make trades. They bring in Isaiah Kiner-Falefa and Josh Donaldson. Yeah, okay. Give me a break. This is the team in town that you don't F with now. You don't mess around with them. Don't give me little brother anymore. I want to hear it.
So what does this do? Here's the other thing that this does. So I know that Steve Cohen was saying, would my other partners, meaning Major League Baseball owners, be upset if I blow through the luxury tax? And, what do you think that number is? That was a question that he asked the people that work for him. And that number was about 340 to 350. I told you that Monday morning. Well, he's really ticking off some people right now in Major League Baseball. Good. We don't care. But what happens now to every single other owner in this space, in the New York sports space right now?
Oh, it puts pressure on them. It definitely. So the Yankees are going to introduce Aaron Judge today at 10 o'clock, which was supposed to be the biggest baseball story in New York, and Steve Cohen takes it away from him again. So, Tiki and Tierney this morning are going to have to throw to the Judge press conference at 10 o'clock. They'd much rather be talking about Carlos Correa being a Met.
Well, I think it's great that Judge is coming back, and Judge, right. but this happened, man. You wake up this morning, and that's the first thing you do is you check your phone, and you see what's on there, and you're just you can't believe it. It's just the fact that it happened in the middle of the night. I guess they're all in Hawaii. I guess I'm assuming Boris and Cohen are in Hawaii. Yeah. So they're obviously behind us, but this is like earth-shattering sports news to the degree where we have never seen anything quite like this. I do remember in the mid-'90s the Rangers would spend money before that sport became a cap sport. And I always felt like they always outspent everybody. They always went after the best guy. They always tried to trade for the best guy. They always went after the best free agent, and they would spend the money. And then all of a sudden the cap started to constrict that in the NHL. So the Rangers and look, Jim Dolan tried to do this with his basketball team. How many times?
Yeah, but they never. So what the Warriors are doing now, and I understand the Knicks smacked them around last night, and everybody's hurt. But what the Warriors did when they far exceeded the salary cap and then got taxed at an enormous rate, that's what's going on with Steve Cohen.
Yes,
that's the only example. But here's the thing: what have the Warriors done? They've won multiple championships, and now when you go this far with the payroll, you have to win a championship. There is no excuse now because the target is on your back. And just like Met fans would celebrate when the Yankees fell short, when they had the highest payroll in baseball, all of Major League Baseball is going to do the same thing because they now, if you're not a Met fan, Steve Cohen and the Mets are now the enemy. They are now the enemy because they buy everybody. They bring in everybody. Steve Cohen doesn't give a crap. And I love it. I'm telling you, I love it. But you better deliver. I mean, these guys, Carlos Correa was brought here to hold up another World Series trophy like he did in Houston. That's why he was brought here.
I would like to think multiple World Series trophies. Well, yeah. That's what I would like to think.
But just let's start with one. I was 4 the last time. Let's start with one.
Could you imagine if you're Billy Epler, you're Buck Showalter, you can't, hey, Buck, you're not managing the Texas Rangers. You're not managing the Baltimore Orioles. You are now managing a guy who is going to spend whatever it takes to give you the best resources possible to try to win a championship. It's unprecedented what's going on right now. And I have to say, in baseball, it's unprecedented. As you pointed out, the Warriors are the example in basketball.
Right.
Because they're spending the money. I wonder what, like, other owners, and I know you're going to poo-poo this, but I'm just wondering. I'm not saying it's wrong or it's right or whatever. I'm just wondering, like, what the owners of the Royals, the Pirates, the Rays, the Marlins, the bottom-feeding teams.
Yeah.
That are going to be feeding off of this luxury tax.
Oh, they
money.
love it. Like, so I spent those 5 years in Pittsburgh. Bob Nutting is the owner of the Pirates.
Right.
And what he did that everybody would just be so pissed off about it, would take that revenue sharing money and he pocket it so he'd have a profit and he wouldn't invest in the team. And that's why they lost all their free agents. So owners like that fall into that category love it because it just gets spread around. Now, if they put it into the team, which is what they're supposed to do, then they should be happy that way, but they're going to get the money either way. I mean, these guys just want to make money, and I understand that everybody does, but I don't think that these bottom feeder teams are sitting there going, oh, this is a bad thing for baseball. They could be spending more, and they choose not to because they want to be in the black, not the red.
One quote that came out of Steve Cohen last night, somewhere around 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm sure. So it must be, 10 o'clock wherever he is or whatever, 9 o'clock, whatever the time difference is.
Yeah.
Was, I hope the fans come out.
Well, I mean.
Yeah, you better hope the fans come out.
True. I mean, when you're spending this much money, and they will. I mean, and I'm the perfect example of a guy who was just so frustrated with what happened last year and now this morning. It's a full activation. It's a full activation, man.
Again. I like it.
I mean, because I'd seen so much negativity. I'd gone through so much. It was just so annoying, and the Braves were going to continue to be good, and the Phillies went to the World Series. And I just love the fact that stuff annoyed Steve Cohen as much as it annoyed me. That's what I love. Because, if I were him, I'd be tossing around money like crazy to make sure that this team won a championship as well, just like every other Met fan. And he's actually doing it.
Do you have any idea the total amount of money that Steve Cohen has committed to Met players this offseason?
Oh, my God. So we're talking 315, 100, 100 and whatever the Nimos was. I mean, maybe I'll say $550 million.
$800 million. $800 million.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't what. I mean, you have Omar Narvaez, $8 million. You got Brooks Raley here. You got Correa, Ottavino, Senga, Verlander, Quintana, Robertson, Nemo. I mean, you take a look at this. I mean, it's unbelievable. And they haven't even gotten to Jeff McNeil and Pete Alonso yet.
No, they have not. And I would expect at this point,
and Edwin Diaz as well.
Right. Well, yeah, and they brought him in as well. Again, a $100 million deal. Look at this. Can you see this on the screen here at CBS Sports Network? I mean, I can't believe it. Carlos Correa, Mets in the what the hell? And this medical issue, man. I hope you're right. I hope it was just Cohenitis that got him.
Yes.
And that was the medical issue. But that is an interesting thing. I want to hear from the Giants. Yeah. I want to hear the Giants' perspective on this. Do they feel like Boris stole away Correa and put him on the Mets, or was there something that they were really uncomfortable with the medicals where they didn't want to invest that type of money? I'm really curious.
Well, I don't know. It just feels like to me that Correa was having second thoughts. Now, I could be wrong about that, but I think the money is pretty close. And you realize that Steve Cohen made that last-second phone call before they went to San Francisco. And you got to believe that Carlos Correa is talking to Francisco Lindor. You got to believe that behind the scenes there's a lot of stuff going on. You also have to believe that Correa was probably saying to Boris, hey, look, man, this doesn't feel right.
Yeah, maybe.
I think I want to go to New York, man. I think I want to be on the Mets.
Listen to you. You're just using the phrase "you got to believe" in normal conversation. That's how jacked up you are with New York Mets baseball right now.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, this is like I said, this is an incredible holiday present for all of us.
Right.
And usually it's the Yankees that do this, and it's probably one of the reasons why they're announcing Aaron Judge today and bringing him back and doing the whole dog and pony show with him.
Yeah.
Is because this is like right before Christmas, and normally that's the Christmas present that the Steinbrenners like to hand to their Christmas celebrating fans.
That is right.
Oh, my God, this is unbelievable. I mean, this is one of those days where I'm just glad I'm here.
No, of course.
I am just so glad I am here.
Of
And, the fact is we have a huge football game tomorrow night, and it gets bigger and bigger by the day, the closer we get to it for all the different reasons that are attached to it. I was looking at some numbers, and we're looking at the Jets and the Giants right now, their playoff projection percentages. And I'll give you those playoff projection
a little bit later after we get a towel and wipe ourselves off after this Carlos Correa news.
Man.
All right, Boomer and Gio on the Fan and CBS Sports Network.